Hello, gentlemen. Welcome back. I'm dating coach Naz, and in today's video, I want to get into 3 things you should give up before you start dating. And the reason why I want to speak about this is because I find that when I'm as a dating coach helping men, they usually, want to begin dating from a place of lack, from a place of scarcity, from a place of fear. That everybody's getting married, everyone's in relationships. What about me? I don't have anybody. So when we think like this, what happens is that means that we're not really looking for love for the right reasons. So that is why I want to kind of get into a couple of the things we need to talk about before you even think about or start dating. So let's get into it. So the first thing that I want you to give up is addictions. And you might be thinking, well, Naz, I don't have any addictions. I'm not a drug addict. I don't, drink alcohol every single day. And so I don't have any addictions. Okay? And I'm actually going to disagree with you on that one. And the reason is because we all have some form of addictions. Not all of us, most of us do. Apart from being an alcoholic and drug addict, which is what most of us know, you can also be a bit of a sugar addict, which is where I come in here, okay, because I'm a big sugar addict and I recently actually cut out sugar from my coffee and my teas, and it's been a very scary it's been a scary experience. Not scary but being dramatic, but I just love sugar, guys. I love sugar, and I love Nutella. And I realize that whenever I'm stressed or whenever I'm having, I just want to get more soothed, I tend to get into my sugar pantry or whatever. So I really have to, I'm learning to challenge myself, and I do detoxes, every now and then again. But for this time, I'm like, no, I have to do something a little bit drastic because I'm just not, I'm not going to end up, because sugar is actually one of the reasons why you get cancer. Also, one of my grannies had diabetes, and so I just want to make sure that I'm just not indulging and really, losing my life over it, which is like not what I want to do. So you can have a sugar addiction. You can also have a negative emotions addiction where, if you're talking to a friend, you more likely will get into the negative, all my problems and my life is so difficult. Oh my God, life is so tough and nothing's ever worked. Like, instead of taking accountability for your life and really looking at it from a perspective of what can I do better, you tend to like to remain in the mud of it's me, it's the world's fault. Nothing is going well for me, instead of actually figuring out a solution. Because when you have negative emotions, your body actually creates a chemical. And soon enough, you start wanting more and more and more of it, because when you feel it, it makes you feel calm. You can even be addicted to fear, which is what I've seen my mother growing up. My mom's side of the family, everything is so, fear-based. And she's constantly just afraid and afraid and afraid of everything. I can't do this because this is going to happen. I can't do this because that's going to happen. That's an addiction. You're addicted to live in fear. And it might not even make sense, but your body actually gets used to those chemicals, and then because you're not aware, you tend to repeat those same behaviors and patterns all over again. That is why I'm such a big advocate on being aware of yourself, meditating, getting attuned with your soul, because a lot of the times we want things in our life, but we don't even know why we want it. We just want a car. We just want a Lamborghini. Why do you want it? Oh, because it's, I'm going to look great in it. No. Think about it this way. What if, I know this is so totally off topic, but let's say that you had everything in your life. You had the best partner, you had 10 cars, you had all the money, $50 billion in the bank account. Now what do you want? What do you want now that you have everything? What is the gift that you're here to give to the world? How are you of service? That is a question that all of us, every single human being on the planet, needs to ask ourselves. If you have everything, now what do you want? Because most of the time when we want a Lamborghini, we want a bag or whatever, clothes, we're only wanting it from our ego's perspective. It's because our ego is enabling us to want those things, and also because society. We're a culture of consuming. And so we don't really see the value in giving and being of service because we are so prone right now. Wow, I just spit all over. We are so prone right now to constantly take. What can I have next? So, and what do we want at the end of it? We want to be happy. But you can never be happy when you just get a bunch of things. So always remember that the more that you get doesn't equate to happiness. I don't even know, why did I get there? Please, I need an audience so you guys can get me on track. Okay. Oh, I just realized shopping can be an addiction. So a lot of people, I didn't even realize I was doing it. It was so natural. But yeah, shopping addiction, wanting things in order to validate your self-worth. Addictive to money. Addictive to success. This is another one where a lot of men, this is what I see on a day-to-day basis, where men are constantly overworking themselves. They're burnt out. They're tired. All of these things. But they're then looking for love. It cannot equate to love. Not, being burnt out, being depleted of your energy, not knowing what you want in a partner, not knowing what you're here to do. You're not really in tune with your soul. It's going to be very difficult for you to go out there, date, and start dating and then find the love of your life. And I say this to men all the time, but sometimes I feel like men tend to overlook it because they think, oh, that's just so easy. Like anybody can, get in tune with your body. Oh, it's not that big of a deal. But why don't you try something different? Because obviously you're on this channel for a reason. So why don't you try something that you've never done before? How about that? Oh my God, I'm forgetting all of the main ones. Also, addicted to sex, addicted to porn. That one is a big one. And so this is what I'm saying is that, like, I'm not asking you to be a superhuman and like completely cutting everything down, but you have to really, think about these things, being aware of, wait, when I get stressed, why do I always end up watching 2 hours of porn? Or when I, get rejected from a woman, why do I always do this weird habit of mine? Get aware of your habits. Why are you doing the things that you're doing? And the most important one, which I am working on currently myself, is addicted to social media, your phone. And unfortunately, not unfortunately, I love working on, on YouTube and Instagram, and that's all perfect. It's sometimes, this is my fault. This has nothing to do with social media. Social media I think is amazing, but I myself and everybody else needs to have boundaries with social media and how I don't do the scrolling anymore. And another thing that I've added is that I've stopped following anybody on my social media because I'm like, I don't want to get on my, on my feed and, as soon as you're on, like you get on your Instagram, you're like, oh, I want to get this sort of insight or this looks so cool. Like you're just automatically so, you just get straight into it. You don't even realize it's so bad. At least with like alcohol and drugs, like you see yourself doing it. This is so like light and gentle, like you don't even realize you're on the phone for 6 hours. 6 hours of your precious life is gone to waste because you're addicted to it. And also watching TV shows, for 3-4 hours a day. And I'm always gonna get back to discipline, having discipline with any of these things that are that give you dopamine. Right? Because you get addicted so fast, and then before you know it, you're 90 years old and you haven't achieved anything that you wanted to achieve. Another one is also addiction to validation. When you're constantly looking for people to give you compliments. One of the reasons why we want validation is because we want to feel seen. And even when another one of the addictions that I mentioned was an addiction to negativity, even that, whenever you're talking to a friend or talking to anybody and suddenly you start talking about, oh my God, my life's difficult or whatever the problems, you basically are letting them know so that they could see you. They could feel sorry for you. So then you don't actually have to take any accountability. You don't actually have to do any of the work because, oh, poor you. Oh no. So again, I'm not doing this to be mean or anything like that, but this is something that I used to do. And I know the cycle of this where you constantly, You just blame everyone, and you don't, you're not able to grow. And this whole channel that I've created is literally to help men grow, to see a different perspective, to open up your mind. If I'm missing any addictions, please put it down below, because I feel like I am missing something, but let me know down below. The next thing that I want you to give up before you start dating is being close-minded. Okay? And this is something that I see a lot of men struggling with, being closed-minded. And I think they don't even realize how detrimental it is to their life, and what they're able to attract into their life. And so one of the things when I was a matchmaker, the biggest thing that I remember I used to mention to everybody, because when men and women came to me, they had a very specific person they were looking for. He has to have 11 fingers. Okay, that was silly. He just has to be exactly what they're looking for. Okay, and that's just not how life works. Yes, you're going to get a couple of the personality traits that you're looking for, and I believe in manifestation 100%. But also remember that those great qualities, because a lot of women, they are men as well, they say, oh, I want a woman that is independent, right? And so when you want a woman that is independent, there is also, what we fail to understand, there's also a downside to that, because sometimes that woman might kind of link her off to a little bit of, I got this, I don't need your help kind of thing, kind of energy, and it might actually put you off. Okay, so really, understanding that when I say I want an independent woman, know that there's also a downside to that, because as I mentioned, when you attract your soulmate, there's going to be issues that arise. There's going to be things that aren't perfect, and you have to be able to adapt. You have to be able to understand where that person is coming from, so you don't end up, creating assumptions and then ruining relationships. Actually, I'm also going to add ego to this one, because it kind of goes hand in hand. I feel like ego, be closed-minded, kind of knowing that you know everything and I don't need your advice, really, like I got this. That's not really a leader, because a lot of men, I think they misunderstand this aspect as well of leaders. A leader sometimes can also be a follower, right? And that's the beauty of a leader, is that you're able to know where you stand at what stage, in your relationship or in life. And I feel like a lot of men think, oh, I'm a leader, that means what I say goes, and that's not what a leader is. That's actually you're being a dictator, basically. In a relationship, it is very important to actually listen to the woman that you're, getting in a relationship with, instead of just, saying, okay, I got this, I'm doing this myself. Ego is very important for us, right? It's literally the reason why we survive, because of our ego. And when you're in a relationship, the ego really needs to take a back seat, because when you're in a relationship, you're not just you're not trying to win an argument. You're not trying to win a war. You're literally trying to work as a team to come to an agreed upon solution, for the betterment of the relationship. For what most people do is they tend to say, no, I'm right, and this is it's my way or the highway. And we're not really, able to put our guard down, regulate ourselves and say, hey, you know what, can I just tell me more about what you're trying to say? We don't ask questions. We don't get curious. We just kind of topple on people. We tell them what to think, and we don't allow the relationship to unfold organically, because, we're busy and we're stressed, and, all the other things that we constantly talk about. And the last thing that you need to give up right before you start dating is this. Laziness. I know. I'm going to get some triggered men out here, but you need to give up being lazy, okay? And what lazy means, it comes in very, different forms. It's just about, not taking initiative in the relationship. So what I mean by not being lazy is when you start dating, what I notice again with men is that they get to a stage, maybe like a month or two, where they're wooing the girl and everything is going great. And then after 2 months, things tend to, you don't get the flowers anymore, you don't get the calls anymore, and it feels comfortable because I'm sure, you guys have been intimate or whatever. And so now it feels like you're in a relationship. So it's like, why should I work hard for it when, we have everything going on for ourselves? So that is what I would recommend to not do, because whenever you're lazy, what you're doing is you're not taking initiative. And in order to be in a relationship, you need to take initiative. So if you feel like right now your work is just, it's a lot for you, you're drained, maybe you're not making the amount of money that you need to in order to just, look after yourself, then this is not the time and moment in time to go and start dating. Because what you're going to do then is you're going to add extra stress onto yourself, because now you gotta spend money for the dates. Not even that, but you need to invest your time, and not just time, not just any time, quality time, effort. Because when you start dating and things go really well, then think about it. Where is it going to head off to? An engagement, a marriage. For most people, I know not everybody's the same, and I get it, but I'm saying for most people, most women, I mean, unless they don't love themselves, that's a whole different topic. But most women, if they're connected, if they're, they're looking after themselves, they love themselves, they want some sort of a commitment to you, whether it be, marriage, whether it be common law, you got a place together, whatever that commitment is. I know everybody's different, but she wants a commitment out of you. Okay. And so if you're not willing to even commit to spending how much ever, I would say probably like 2 or 3 hours a week to spend time with her, and you're just, oh, I'm so tired, like work is so difficult, like that is not what a woman is willing to tolerate. Yes, she might tolerate for the very beginning. And so what I'm trying to say is that before you get into the dating world, make sure that you take care of all parts of you, not just your money, but also yourself, your inner self, your soul, your mindset, you're grounded, you're living a life of presence, of greatness, and not just one where you're just being mediocre and just surviving. You're just dating because everybody else is dating. And that is when dating gets frustrating, when you're not truly ready for it. I really hope that this video has triggered you. I want these videos to trigger you, to be honest. Not in a bad way. I want it to trigger you in a way where you wake up. You wake up out of this dream, this bad dream that you're living over and over and over again. And now you want to take action, whatever that action is. Get a coach, meditate, join a gym, whatever it is. I want these videos to kind of inspire you to do those things. And if I'm able to annoy you and drive you crazy and, you just hate me, I don't care, whatever it is, I'm okay with that, as long as you take action, as long as you put one foot in front of the other. Please don't forget to like this video, share this with somebody who needs it, subscribe to my channel, and I will see you guys in my next one.